And welcome in, good people. How you doing? This is SNN, and that stands for Street News Now. Catch us as you are right now. Spread the word every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. Central Time, and of course 6 p.m. on the West Coast. You make it do what it do by being a part of it. Go to your YouTube channel and type in SNN Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Also, catch us on Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch. And so, before we begin, our fearless leader Lee Michaels pretty much told me, "I am not being with you maniacs tonight. The hell with all y'all." No, he didn't say that, but he will chime in later on. I had the feeling he was going to say it, but that's the presence I got from him. And so we have two more other people that's out right now. They'll probably pop up later. You have Professor Reggie Miles and Buck Wild. Well, they'll show up in time. We'll see what happens. But right now, I bring on the other cohorts of this program. Of course, there you go, Dr. Ron Ford. How you doing, Dr. Ron?
Yo, what's up?
What's up, man? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm still alive, brother. That's my testimony. I'm sticking to it.
Well, that's a good testimony to have, absolutely. And of course, bring in Mr. Mike Love. What's up, brother?
Good. Thanks for putting Mr. in front of my name, Mr. Mike Love. Wow, that's a pretty good honor, because I guess, Ron's got doctor in front of his name. He's got DR, I got MR. Okay, all right. I feel better.
Everybody got these titles, Dr. Ron, I'm a Mr. Mike Love, Professor Reggie Miles, and Buck Wild. So that's
and Buck Wild. Yeah.
And Buck Wild.
As a matter of fact, we're going to have a committee meeting and change it to damn fool, but we need his approval first.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we do.
We just before we change the title on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I know, right? That needs to change. And I have to commend the professor for the following, and we have to work into the show more. When Buck starts doing his Buck Wild thing and not making sense, we should have a shout or announcement saying, "Buck Wild, go to your room."
Somebody hold up like a banner or something. You get a piece of paper or something. Go to your room.
and then you got to add the other part to that. Then you mute him.
He's Buck Wild.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then you mute him, and then after you mute him, then it's okay. You can't hear what he say after that.
That's right. Thank you, Red Beans.
Yeah, thank you, Red Beans, for being here. Red Beans, brown rice, and everybody will congregate as we continue to move forward. So, Mr. Mike Lowe, why don't you start us off with what's on your docket tonight?
Well, when the pandemic first hit, everybody was concerned about the vaccine. We waited, we got the reports. It was like a big countdown to who was going to be the first chemical company that was going to come out, with the medicine that was going to be a preventive measure for this pandemic. And Madeira, or whatever that company is, I believe, came out first. Johnson & Johnson with a speedy number 2. And I was debating it, to be honest with you. I just, I was like, nah, I'm not doing that, because, like I said, I don't believe we had enough information. And I think that, over the last couple of years, coming out of a government administration that was in duress, just to be kind, in words, we know that a lot of things that was happening to the United States of America was due to the fact that we had somebody really crazy, sitting in the Oval Office and was being attacked from every angle possible. And I just felt like, okay, this is, some kind of warfare that I clearly am not getting myself into. I don't know enough about this vaccine, the whole 9 yards. And eventually, as we saw following the news channels, not thousands, not hundreds, but millions of people were dying from this. You had to look at it again and say, hey, do I want to be with the living or with the dead? Is it my time? I want my time to come when God says it's my time. Not because, I didn't take the vaccine or I didn't protect myself accordingly, with a mask or sanitizing my hands or, whatever the case may be. And so I went on ahead And I called my son, and he found one of the drugstores that was literally 5 or 10 minutes away from my apartment at the time. And I went and I got the shot. As a matter of fact, I got the Johnson & Johnson, which is one and done. Now, its preventive level was only at about, I think, 50 or 60% in comparison to the Moderna, which was a lot higher. But at this point, I got to go for what's available. And the shocking news about the situation was when they started showing people in these ICU units on a respirator in a bed that was turned upside down so they could breathe. That was it for me. I mean, I didn't need any other convincing. I didn't see any other studies outside of the stuff that was publicly available, and just said, hey, if it kills me, it kills me. So this fast forwards to a subject that, we're going to talk about tonight. And NBA All-Star player Kyrie Irving is refusing to take the vaccine. And I have to say he's made some valid comments in reference to why he shouldn't do it. And he's been very supportive of those who have done it or who will do it without compromise. But he feels personally it's not something for him. He clearly doesn't have enough information at this time. And even though the NBA is demanding it, he's refused to do it, especially on the road. I think he doesn't have to take it if he's playing in New York, but I think when they go on the road and play in other stadiums or auditoriums or wherever they play in particular cities, that there's a mandate that says you have to be vaccinated. So, I just kind of looked at the situation and said, well, to each his own. But in a sense, it's kind of a selfish matter to me, in the sense that you're not just doing this for you, you have to do it for other players, because it's a protective measure in not spreading something that we can't control. And COVID-19, at this stage of the game, we cannot control it. I looked at secondary, the money situation. I don't think that he's desperate. I don't think that he's in need of cash. I think he's worth about, $250,000. It could be more, it could be less. He has a 4-year contract with the Brooklyn Nets that pays $35 million a year. And in not playing, he's losing $17 million in this first year. Now, I've never been a millionaire before, so I don't know what it's like to have it or to lose it. But once again, just me today, right now, I don't think that I would give up $17 million in trying to make a choice and whether I was going to take the vaccine. Because like I said, he's not going to have any more information than anybody else has. And God has the final say. So he could get hit by a car. So what are you going to do about that? And that's just my thoughts about it. But like I said, he's a good brother. And, he's doing okay with Brooklyn. But I think it's kind of a selfish move not to think about your fellow players.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. It is a selfish move. Now, for those of us who follow the NBA, they were this shy, the Brooklyn Nets, to be in the finals because, of course, Milwaukee beat them and they went on for it to become champions themselves. So if you have your teammates like Kevin Durant and James Harden, in particular, the big three, you want to go for the chip again. You want to go out. And plus,
absolutely,
they've never really played together as a three-man unit within the starting five. There's always been two out of the three, but never the three themselves. And they never really get that three-headed monster chemistry together. But you would think, again, as teammates, if we're all trying to get this chip, we all got to get this shot. And that alone separates Kyrie Irving from everybody else, because it is a selfish move. And it puts, don't get me wrong, they can still go get the chip, obviously, without Kyrie Irving, but it would be nice if he was on board, because that's why you put him on the team in the first place, to go for the championship.
Yeah, the cohesiveness of being a team. That's what team stands for. So, like I said, I don't have anything bad to say about him. I don't know Kyrie Irving personally. And, New York now has mandated it. You're absolutely correct, JoJo Collins. And, Brooklyn said, hey, you can't play, and we definitely can't take you on the road. So if he wants to save $17 million, get vaccinated. If he doesn't have enough on it and he wants to be a responsible team player, then maybe you should get vaccinated. or quit. Quit. Hey, you got, $250,000 somewhere and you worth it. He's got a college education. He's not a dumb guy. He speaks very well. So go get you a regular job. Amazon's hiring. They sent me a thing the other day.
You said Amazon is hiring.
Amazon is hiring
with a hiring bonus.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I got rid of it. I'm sorry. I got a thing from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They're hiring. Everybody's hiring right now.
Yeah. And you can get the terms you want. Now, let me piggyback off of that and slide in a very similar situation here in Chicago. They're having that very same battle about mandated vaccinations. The city of Chicago, the mayor issued an order that it was necessary for all city officials to make sure that their departments were all vaccinated employees. And of course, the Nazi organization called the police union came forward and issued a challenge to that, so that now the police, not all, 21 to be exact, 21 police are now sitting at home without pay, because she said if you won't disclose your information, then you are without your police powers and you are on leave without pay, period. So it's understandable that there's a major concern about people being protected to the point where they do not spread this disease in close quarters. And I understand that he may have concerns about the vaccination and what it does and how it goes forward. It's a lot of information that we don't know. I know that people were starting to relax their concerns once the FDA had, approved certain things about, they passed certain rules and regulations and all of those kind of things. So, that has caused some levels of comfort, but I still say it is a personal choice. And if he feels as though he wants to stay at home, then, hey, God bless him. He probably got a luxurious home to stay at home in.
Yeah.
But I don't think people should persecute him for his decision.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, because I know people were persecuting him for his decision.
Yeah.
There was some statements made towards him in the press and the media over the last week or so, but it's a concern of his.
Well, I don't feel sorry for that. People persecute me for being a Cowboys fan. So get over it, Kyrie.
Cowboy fan?
You're damn right.
You're a Cowboys fan?
Okay, why are you repeating yourself? I mean, didn't you hear yourself ask me that question?
Yeah, you didn't stutter, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's right.
I'm trying to figure out, why would anybody admit that openly,
Well, I mean, but nobody asked you to figure it out, okay? Nobody said, Ron, Dr. I'm just messing with you too. Dr. Ron, would you figure this out? You're on with this guy, Mike Love. He says, openly as if, he's a Cowboys fan. Why would he do it? Can you investigate, please?
It looks like you just came out or something, I'm a Cowboys fan.
No, I'm just mentioning that based on what you said. No, if people who follow me on Facebook know, and everything that I need to come out about, I have done it. And the last one was having a Brazilian wax. And
you can't even say what it is. You stuttering and stuff. But
I'm not stuttering at all. And you asked me the question before we went on the air. Okay, well, let's be transparent because I am. You asked me the question about using, the Manscaped, which is a shaver that's highly recommended because it has a shield on it, that when you are grooming your private parts, when you're grooming your private parts, you want to be careful because some areas are tender or a lot more tender than the other areas. So, yes, I have used that product before. I've used a razor before. But I chose to check this out and to see, what this would do. And I was pleased, I have to say, Dr. Ron, with the results. So
now we have to put a disclaimer in that we do not talk about men's private parts in the green room before the start of the show.
we don't even talk about it as friends. Let's keep that clear. We ain't never had no conversation.
Nobody to get the wrong
Don't get the wrong idea. We don't never had no conversations about that. I want to be on camera when we having them conversations. Chris, I want to be on camera.
You're on camera. We watching your ass right now.
I want to be on camera when I'm having that damn conversation. Okay, let's keep it real.
Right.
So concerns, and I'm sure that is Kyrie Irving's only thing is concern about his health and well-being. Now, your personal medical records are just that personal. You don't have to disclose
At all.
what your health, concerns are. He might be dealing with some health things that he's not ready to share with the public yet. And we don't know. We just know politically it don't look good to leave 13 million on the table.
17
million on the table. It don't look good.
It just don't look good. That's why I said at that point. And nobody cares. I mean, outside of, what you just said, about discussing his personal stuff, because I don't think there's a human being on the planet that doesn't have something that they're dealing with, So it is what it is. What's up, Drew Sean? Mommy.
Yeah. So, we got, we have to yield as media, because we have to be careful.
Sure.
Because sometimes we can be take a persecution edge towards someone that we don't want nobody to feel like like if we're not careful, and I don't want anybody to think that that's what we're trying to do
at all. Not at all.
So it's a topic of discussion, and I'm like, Mike, I like the sound of $17 million in my pocket, and all in quarters, jingling around. And
You're right. You said all in quarters, jingling around. Did you hear something? Oh, that's Ron coming with that 17 million in quarters in the pocket. I thought I heard something jingling.
Not only he's jingling, he's jangling.
He's jangling, baby. Go ahead, baby.
Yeah, like I said, quarters. That way, I'm not in danger of throwing dollars at somebody. Like most of the rappers do. They get dollars and just throw them around bundles at their people.
Yeah.
If I get quarters, I'm gonna put somebody's eye out, So
well, obviously,
So, but
let me say this. Let me just jump in, and I apologize for interrupting. I think one of the other things, and I don't know this to be true, but I think sometimes in situations, it's like us. We've become very good friends. We talk on and off the air. We're on each other's shows. It's this kind of stuff. And we've become a team, with SNN and, a team amongst ourselves in friendship. And, I think it's the same thing when these guys play together. They become a team, but I don't know how they handle themselves when they're not. Do they vacation together? This kind of stuff? Probably not. But I think just like Colin Kaepernick, I think there was an expectation, and I don't know this. Okay, so I don't want somebody to say you said something you don't know. I don't know if Kyrie Irving wanted other players to follow his lead. Mm-hmm. I know that Colin Kaepernick wanted other players to take a knee. They were locked in arms.
Right.
So we're not in question of what did the other players approve. I just don't think that, and the stats that I always use in having the conversation about Colin Kaepernick, who I thought made a valid point, was 80% of the NFL, the National Football League, is at around 80% people of color, preferably African Americans. And probably 40 to 50% of those men are married to other women outside of African Americans. And not that it makes that big of a difference, but I think it's a play that brings connections in a whole different level that didn't make it as safe to go home to Keisha and say, you know what, me and my boy, you know, me and Colin, yeah, you know what I'm saying? They trying to get us to do this American flag thing. We ain't down with it, so yeah, you know, we ain't showing up on Sunday. But when he goes home to speak with Betty about it, and Betty tells her dad, and then dad wants to come over as if he's trying to see the grandkids, but he wants to sit down and have a conversation with you and setting some direction. And, you know, you're not going to be in the NFL that long, and we've got a future for you at our bank, and we got blah, 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 blah. I think it was very persuasive for a lot of those brothers just to back away from that and say, yeah, man, you got that. You right, man. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to cross my heart. You know, I give you that. I ain't gonna do, you know, put my left or right hand or wherever it's supposed to go. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't that good in, you know, with history in grade school. But wherever I ain't gonna put my hand wherever it's supposed to go. How about that?
Yeah. And it is a personal thing for a person to decide what they will or will not do with their health. You know, and he
Or their
might
personal life.
Right. And he might have sat down with his brothers on the team and said, hey, look, guys, I can't do it, you know. And yes, I would like to, you know, jump out here and make this run again, you know, with y'all. But at this particular time, you know, this is my issue. This is my problem. And we don't know that he did or didn't.
He had to do it, Ron. We could bet the house on it.
Yeah.
They can't win with one player.
Right.
In a locker room, you can't have that conversation. You're going to get the snake eye.
Yeah, and that's they boys, man. They boys.
Right,
you know?
they boys. Come on.
You know. So, you know, and people are on the team are very respectful of his wishes at this particular time, you know. So it's a possibility that he may join them whenever his, you know, concerns are satisfied, because he's got concerns.
Yeah, I don't have any investment in him, so best of luck to whatever decision he makes. I just want everybody on this planet to be healthy, safe, and strong.
Amen.
Well, you know, it's interesting because the premiere of the NBA games on TNT happened this past Tuesday night on Inside the NBA, and Charles Barkley on the panel directed about the whole Kyrie Irving situation, and he said something interesting. He said, from his perspective, when you get the shot, you do it because family comes first. Being around your family.
That's right.
And that's the main reason why I decided to get the shot. I thought about my grandson. I want to be around him one day. They stay in Phoenix. Of course, I'm in Chicago. I want to be reunited. Not even reunited. I haven't met him in person yet. So let me take care of me, and we'll take care of each other so we have that day where all are together again. And the same concept can parallel to the team. You're among brothers, your boys, that's family.
Yes.
So if family comes first, that should be some sort of process in your mind. Once again, we're not persecuting the brother. We're not persecuting Kyrie Irving. But the fact remains is, what would you do for your family? If your family requested, you get the shot.
And we don't know.
Exactly.
Hey, bro. They on their own. I'm sorry.
So says Dr. Ron.
Look, I go by the following. Yeah, I go by the following. An old school cartoon dog once said, Rasa Ruck. Rasa Ruck. The Kyrie Irving.
Rasa Ruck.
Gooby Doo once said Rasa Ruck. So I go along with Rasa Ruck.
Look, because, you know, it's unfortunate. We make group decisions sometimes that may not be all the best decision. As an example. Now, this is like just as an example. No comparison directly to what we're talking about, but a lynch mob is a group decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You know, so you know, hey, if you're not careful, like the media has been directing our thought processes, mainstream media, not us, of course, but they have been directing our thought processes about this vaccination. They've been quarterbacking this whole thing on what we should think and what we should know. Okay, plain and simple. Okay, I got to stop what I'm saying because I see Reggie. Reggie is on the street.
You read my mind, because
yeah, bro.
our
I
brother
got to
broadcasting is in the comment section. I'm on the street dancing.
Oh yeah,
So,
he out there, y'all.
Dancing, Doc.
Yeah, and he had 4 shots and a booster.
Oh yeah, he's protected. Okay,
he's good.
He drink hand sanitizer.
Yeah. I had to stop what I'm saying, but group decisions sometimes can be harmful and not, the best decision, because individually, all those people that are in a lynch mob would not go out and perform a lynching by themselves.
Not at all.
But with a group, the mentality of that group has now crossed over from one to another. Okay. And I look at how mainstream media, I'm targeting them right now in this comment. Okay. Main Street media has told us that if you do not get this vaccination, you can spread it. And if you catch it, you're going to die or could die. Yeah, most of the time, the people that get it, most of the deaths, so they say. What's up, Al?
Al Greer.
Most of the deaths are related to people that have not been vaccinated.
Absolutely.
Now, that's where they steer our thought processes to. Okay.
I've had 5 people, Dr. Ron, pass away in the last 6 months.
And I've had, at least a dozen. So, I know how serious this thing is.
Yeah.
About people dying. But there are some of those people that have died that have taken the vaccination as well. And I know people that have taken the vaccination personally and have caught COVID 2 and some of them 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are no guarantees, which they have been saying all along. Dr. Fauci has been saying, Dr. Fauci, I might know I'm murdering his name.
Dr.
Fauci. Yeah. He has said all along that there is no guarantee
on either side.
But this is something that we think will help along the way. So and I go back, and me personally, now let me just throw this out there. Before they had a vaccination, they came up with a plan of action, that would help keep us from catching this thing and dying. Okay, that was working. And then they threw all of that out the window to no caution, no concern. Okay, oh, you got a shot, you got 2 shots, you got 3 shots. Oh yeah, you can go out there and boogaloo in the middle of the beach, with 100,000 people around you. Really? But I'm just saying, that's what the main street media, I keep emphasizing, that is how they are steering and directing our thought process.
Well, but a lot of that, to come to their defense, is from press releases that they're getting from these chemical companies. If they tell you that, the only thing that whether it's MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, whatever the news organization is to read the news. You see what I'm saying? Now they can influence the narrative. You know what I'm saying? With an attitude, being, careless in what they put out there. But most of the stuff that they're telling you is coming from somewhere. Now, they have shows that can do fact checking. You know what I'm saying? Where they can go a little bit deeper. But if Johnson and Johnson, just to throw one out there, says that they got a new vaccine out and this is the one, it don't matter what you do, they read it. So you can't believe everything you hear, and you for damn sure can't believe everything you read. So it will take time, and that's the upside to what Kyrie Irving was saying, that he needed more information. You know, he just wasn't comfortable with what was out there, and nobody can. I mean, I wouldn't argue that. I thought he was absolutely correct. But
Well, you know, y'all think back when 45 was running things.
oh my God, I don't want to.
And in casual conversation, this fool said, maybe it's some kind of way we can inject alcohol, you know, into people's veins, and we can.
Oh my God, that was.
Y'all remember that debacle?
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately.
Like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
He wasn't even talking about like bourbon, you know, or a glass of wine or something. He was talking about like alcohol.
And not only that, bleach.
That's what it was. It was bleach. Yeah.
It was bleach. Right. It was bleach.
Clorox came out
and made a statement.
Don't inject us.
Don't you ever say
Now that's terrible.
It's horrible.
But when the bleach manufacturers got to put out a public service announcement to
We
say,
do not support the president. Do not inject our
To protect
chemicals into
themselves.
your veins.
To protect themselves. And that's what I'm saying, because they put out press releases all the time. Yes, they're controlling the narrative. Okay. How it's read, how it's interpreted is all in the distribution. But once again, this guy right here, he would do anything to sway attention. You know, and that's where I think it was after we got away from that administration, because I don't want to say this about the young lady. When they used to have Dr. Fauci and the lady come on when they were doing the press release, she was kind of kooky to me. I mean, you know, she was just kind of, she scared me, you know, more than anything else. And she could have been smarter than him, but she seemed like she was easily persuaded. And I think 45 ended up blowing her out, didn't he?
Yeah,
Or somebody blew her out. She didn't stay.
She quit. I think
She quit. Right.
That's out of line.
That's probably it.
Right.
I bet.
You went through like 2 or 3 press secretaries that you know what, that last 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, if you won't lie for me, then what are you doing in the job?
He went through 2 or 3 of everything. Wives. He he may have another set of kids we don't even know anything about.
Hey, you probably right. You know,
but also, you know, the power of the presidency that we all know. Obviously, 45 did not understand the power because of his words. Going back, you know, we joke around about the whole thing about injecting bleach into your arm. There was a couple that actually did that.
Did it? Yeah.
The guy died.
Yes,
the husband died, and the wife had to stay in the hospital.
Yes, and that's
what 45 said.
So you just contradicted what you said, because did you say he didn't know what he was doing? I'm just asking, Chris.
Yeah,
no, he did. No. But to see what I'm not going to sit here and try to debate someone who's a fool now.
I know that. I know that, but I'm saying I think he knew exactly. I think one of the things with him, you know, I come from a numbers game working for a network, and numbers are everything. That's the success is based on numbers. Right. And when somebody comes and tells you something, like Bannon came to him and said, look, there's a constituency of people who are never heard. If you want to get reelected, empower these folks and it'll be a shoo-in. And the next thing we know, we're seeing these people climbing the Capitol.
Right.
And these people got a voice, and they were walking around with red caps on. Mm-hmm. And believing that they had been empowered in a way that they could get out and do anything.
Yep.
It was kind of like a voice for the voiceless.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they still feel like they got a voice.
Oh, the door is open.
You know, they still feel like they can say anything, do anything, and then going full circle back to Kyrie. Mm-hmm. I can understand a level of confusion and concern.
Absolutely.
With the history of how information has evolved about this vaccination. Boom, full circle.
There it is.
Yep.
There you go. So, like anything else, I think it's a matter of do your due diligence and get information and cipher out for yourself. And going back to what we said earlier, it's not to crucify or to put someone up against the wall and say you must take the shot, but at least find information before you make a sound decision. And that
Mm-hmm.
goes for anybody across the board. But we have enough in our world right now that further divides us. You should respect somebody's wishes or thought process. If they don't get the shot, that's fine. You move on. But
Yeah.
the political conservative right has done a masterful job to make a political issue. Oh, your rights are being taken away from you if you do get the shot or don't get the shot. If you don't get it, you'll be persecuted. No, what it's about in really in totality is surviving the race through all of this as the human beings. So if we
Absolutely.
get on board with that alone, you would think to be more, harmonious situations. But when you can further divide the situation, this is what you got. You got classic divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm. That's like that fool that we talk about so much over here, the Mr. Pillow Man.
Yeah. Oh my God.
He said with confidence, so many things that were not true, but it was the tone in his voice and how he said it that made people believe he knew what the heck he was talking about.
He's trying to sell them
Wrong,
pillows.
Yeah.
wrong.
He was trying to sell them pillows, and he
Yeah,
saw 45 get away with it. He was like, "This
yeah,
all you got to do?"
Dude, and
yeah,
it's not even a good product. I said it before. If you go to the Better Business Bureau, when they
yeah.
grade products from A to F, they damn near created a whole new alphabet. It was beyond
Wow,
the F plus.
you
His
kidding?
no. Seriously, his pillows, his pillow bed thing, everything that he's put out has F plus marks to it.
It's garbage.
Wow.
It's garbage. But he made millions of dollars doing it.
Yeah. By the
'Cause
time they discovered it was garbage, because how are you going to discover it's garbage without usage?
right. Well,
Exactly.
he was a pitch man. He would sit out there and tell you a whole story and then discount it. You can get two for the price of one, and now you got pillows in everybody's garage because ain't nobody taking them in the house.
No,
Yeah.
hell nope.
Yeah.
So F
Hell to
plus
the nope.
plus. Hell nope.
Yeah.
That is right. So as we move forward, as again, people in the comment section, please continue to comment and give your point of view about what you're partaking here. We move on to Dr. Ron Ford.
Man, I got a picture that I need to share. I don't know if you can pull it up. Can you share my screen through your control panel?
I'll give it. I'll try.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah. Don't show this tip again. Let me
I
see.
can
Can I
put up a
bring?
picture of before and after of the wax.
No, I'm trying. I'm trying to see if I can bring this picture up.
Chris.
Because it lends to the conversation. Okay. Do you see it in the green room, Chris?
Let's see. Yeah.
There we go. I don't know if I
Okay.
can blow that up or not. I think
Now the question is, I don't know if it's necessary to blow that up or not.
there we go.
You just
There
did.
you go. You got
Okay.
it. All right.
So
So
that's Superman with who?
some guy. Okay. So now this is something that ran across my desk last week. Okay. And when I saw it, I was enraged because what they did was they made Superman gay or bi or whatever they want to
Wow.
call it. And according to the caption on this picture, this Superman, the one we're looking at here, has came about from Lois Lane and Superman love affair, and he's gay. He's
Hmm.
kissing on a boy in this picture to show that it's okay to be a superhero and gay. Now, as a man, I got a problem with this. Okay. And I'll tell you why I have a problem with it. because growing up, I saw comic book figures and I studied them and I followed them, and it was extremely encouraging, to watch these type of superheroes, like Superman, and let me just say this. As far as I knew, Superman was a player, the original Superman. Okay.
Was Superman the player or Clark Kent?
Well, Superman was the player.
Okay.
Okay. Because Clark Kent was the klutz.
Okay.
And
Or he played that role with the phony glasses and stuff.
But comic books, and I don't know, maybe I was looking in the wrong department store when I saw these, but Superman was kicking it with Wonder Woman and Lois Lane.
But see, you what did Buck leave his script around for you to read? No. Hell to the nope. No,
but he did kick it with one.
No.
Well, okay.
The three of us that are handling business for SNN this week all remember only one woman in his life, and that was Lois Lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's cool too. I'll go with that one.
Okay. See, because that XY millennial stuff you talking about, I'm not even recognizing that.
But it was a woman. Lois Lane was always
okay. Well, let's just stick with Lois Lane.
Okay. All right. And then they came along later. They added Superboy. They had Supergirl.
Now, see, you going in.
No.
I'm not saying they didn't. I'm saying now you going. I didn't care nothing about that. Clark Kent running into a phone booth, snatching the glasses off, coming out, hitting the air was the one.
Right.
And getting his butt cussed out by Perry White.
All the time.
Okay.
But see, comics were a method of influence when we were coming up. No matter which one you followed, no matter who you followed, they were a method of influence. Okay. So now when you're looking at today, 2021, October, because this came out last week, and you're looking at a comic that has made it okay for Superman to be gay. He can't be Superman no more. I was talking to Lee about this earlier. The title alone says Superman, not super gay.
Well, let me say this.
Come on with it.
Okay, his sexual prowess. Is there any evidence that says with his sexual preferences that his development of deferring crime has lowered?
Yeah, I would say not.
Okay, so my point is, if whatever his sexual preference is, as long as he's still fighting crime at a high percentage, then can we hold that against him?
Well, I'm just okay as a man. I got a problem with allowing any children that are in my watch care to be influenced by a gay Superman. Period.
Okay, but let me go here. Okay, so the criminals are robbing the bank. All right. Superman comes in, he hits the pavement, you can hear it. Capes waving, the whole 9 yards. They turn around and, he puts his hands, structured on his hips, and they start firing at him and the bullets are bouncing off, right? That's the Superman I know. Okay. Then he goes and grabs the gun and then turns the barrel, twists it all up. That's the Superman I know. Now, this Superman that you're describing is one that hits the ground And he said, "Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. What y'all think y'all doing? Y'all robbing the bank or something? What's going on? Who put that? That ain't your money. Put that money down. Stop. I said. Now, if Superman was doing that, then yeah, that too. Yeah, if he was doing that, then I would probably don't break up my skit. Now, come on, stop, Dr. Ron. You're breaking up my skit. If he was doing that, then I would probably, I would really have a problem. I'm asking the question: is his sexual preference have anything to do with crime fighting?
No, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. And I follow comics since I was a child to where I am now. Now, just for the record, Dr. Ron is right. In alternative stories, they have put together Superman and Wonder Woman. So that's a fact.
Right. That was moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So this whole thing about John Kent in this storyline about he's the son of Clark and Lois being bisexual. Here's the thing. The CW has a show that came out.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sure.
Who's bisexual? His daddy or the son?
The son.
The son.
So John Kent is bisexual.
Is the current Superman that Dr. Ron's referring to.
Also, right. So that's Superman Jr.
Right.
See, you didn't tell me that. I apologize for screaming, but I'm a little upset. I didn't know that was Superman Jr.
Yeah, it's Superman's son, John.
Where's the glass? Take a drink.
I'm gonna need it.
Go ahead, Chris. Keep going. Thank you. Thank you for clarification on him. Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't know that was Superman Jr.
Right, John Kent.
Now, who's his mama? Wonder Woman or Lois?
Lois.
It's Lois.
Yeah.
Well, why is he fooling with Wonder Woman?
Well, look, I don't know all about that. I'll just say in alternative stories, they had paired Superman and Wonder Woman together. In this situation that Dr. Ron's talking about, John Kent, who is the son of Clark and Lois, he's the new Superman. This current Superman, John Kent, is bisexual.
Yes.
Okay, now I get it. See, I missed that, and I apologize, Dr. Ron. I didn't get that part of it because I've never seen that story. So this was first for me. I didn't get it. Okay,
Right. I got you.
Right, cool.
No, I thought that was Daddy.
It's in your
no.
email.
This is their son. This is
okay. I thought that was Daddy. I
It was
apologize.
in your email 3 days ago. But that's okay.
I'm 64. I ain't got to read my damn email if I don't want to. The only thing I have to do with urgency is pee. Now, when I got to pee.
Yes. Now keep going, Chris, because you're clarifying some things here. Thank you. And I want to address Preston when you get through, Chris. Go right ahead.
Okay. So in the storyline this past season, the CW has a show called Superman and Lois. They completed their first season. They have 2 sons. And in the storyline, we're trying to find out who will adopt or pass on the next generation of Superman between both of the fraternal brothers. I'm curious now, since what Dr. Ron has brought forward, would next season, would John Kent, the teenager who now has superpowers of his own, will they make him bisexual to keep in line with the comic book?
I'm confused.
It's confusing.
That's all right. We understand.
No, it's confusing. No,
I'm going to tell you why I'm confused. I'm confused because I'm trying to figure out. I understand that we're trying to open up how we live in the world today. Mm-hmm. We're in the 21st century, right?
Correct.
Okay, so how we live in the world today, there are a lot of things that, coming out, okay? And we ain't even got to Dwayne Wade yet in that situation, okay? Mm-hmm. With his son. Now, or it's daughter.
Right.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out, and I guess I'm getting it now that, okay, me too, what the hell? So I'm trying to figure out, all right, now, why is it necessary that we have to mainstream something that we're recognizing, okay? And I get it, but I'm not sure if that level of your sexual preference needs to be mainstream. Let me just come out. No pun intended. Shut up. Shut the hell up, Dr. Ron. Shut the hell up, Dr. Ron. I'm not sure.
Go ahead, bro. Keep going.
I'm not sure if it needs to be mainstream. I think it needs to be recognized. And I think that, it should be respectable. In all honesty, I'm a straight man. I'm just keep it real. We playing a lot, but I'm straight. Okay. But I'm just saying I respect it if that's somebody's sexual preference or what they want to be. But I'm not sure. I think we going a little far when we're trying to make this mainstream.
Yes. Yeah. And let me just address Preston. Preston put up a comment that said children are influenced by their peers, not a cartoon.
Amen. There you go. There you go.
When we were coming up, Mike, you know this just like I know this. We shared comic books. We shared stories that we were exposed to. We saw things and we shared that information amongst ourselves. So if somebody had a higher level of understanding in our group, we all were elevated to that level. So when you start exposing young people, because they're young people, to things like this, are we now endorsing it? Are we okay with it? Are we saying that if you see it, it's socially acceptable? Is that what?
If they said it's socially acceptable, I'm okay with that.
But as men, okay, we have a man's show. We are men.
Right. As a man, as a heterosexual man, if it's socially acceptable, I'm okay with it.
I'm like, no, I would prefer. Let me just say this. For me in my house, I would prefer that whatever gay tendencies you have, that's fine for you. But I don't want you to expose them as being okay in my household.
No, now I'm not saying that not in your house. What I'm saying is I don't think we should discriminate against them. Let me set the record straight. I'm not into discriminating against the gay community. Okay? I believe that if whatever that is and however it comes about that makes you want to be involved with the same sex, I don't know what that's like. I love women.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't want to pleasurize it to the point where, what if I don't want my child to be exposed to that as of yet?
Well, that's a great point, and I think it's individual. I mean, I don't know how to answer that.
I got to explain to you. Okay, well, the reason why Superman is kissing on a little boy because they have this thing called gay lifestyle. You see what I'm saying? Now that's a whole adult conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There's no argument there. When I meant sociably acceptable, I'm saying not to the point that we have to change everything, have a gay bus driver and we got to have a homosexual cook in the kitchen. I'm not saying at that level. I'm saying that if someone says that they're gay, okay, you're gay.
Look, when I was in 8th grade, now I'm finna go back into time.
Okay. Yeah, because that's a long time ago.
Yeah. We had guys that was sneaking out in the afternoon. We left for lunch at 12. And they didn't come back in the afternoon because his girlfriend parents wasn't at home.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And 6 months later, his girlfriend went down south.
Right. And came back with her little brother.
No. He never came back. Now, we graduated.
Well, the ones in our area, I saw 2 of those incidents. Yeah. And both of them came back with a relative. It wasn't her child.
So when he got it, he told us about it. Every little detail that we needed to know about his escapades and adventure. So that was sharing with us knowledge that, needless to say, I would need to know down the road. Okay.
Right. But it was exciting when he telling you 13
Right.
years old.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get it.
You had my full attention. What?
Right. So that was not a conversation I had with my parents.
Right. Not at all.
Okay. Did not, they didn't feel the need to tell me, what a rubber was and why his girlfriend got to go down south. They did not share none of that.
And saying rubber was like a curse word.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't want to be caught saying rubber.
And look, and they didn't know he was the one, because when they started doing attendance after lunch, they said, well, who didn't come back?
Oh my God.
Like, that's your boyfriend?
Well, it shouldn't matter. And you talk about, once again, a comic book, and if you had a discussion with your son or daughter, whatever, and that probably is the time to have a conversation. That could be a learning curve if you do it correctly. Now, all this we just talked about, a lot of stuff that we learned was out in the street, unless you just had a very liberal parent. But all the stuff we found in the street through our contemporaries, or hearing gossip or whatever, and we learned those type of stuff on the street. Having said that, the whole thing, going back to your story about the bisexual Superman is concerned, it goes back to what Mike said. The job of the superhero is to save lives or to save a situation.
Right.
We're not even looking at his personal life. Now, in this situation, that's what they're doing. But in real life, you have relatives who are gay and lesbian or whoever. You have friends that are that, or maybe never came out to you or anybody else. And reality is that that's who these people are. For example, God rest his soul, on my dad's side, my Uncle James. My Uncle James was gay. Now, I heard my relatives, like my dad and my uncles and aunts, call him the F word.
Oh, wow.
All the time. But it was not to be derogatory. That's just how they teased him. And he would call them names back.
Right.
So my point is, I didn't care because I loved my uncle. I knew something was different about him as a kid. He never, said anything derogatory towards me because he loved me. I loved him. All I know is that he'd give me the baddest 3-piece suits a child ever had.
Wow.
And shoes to match. So he had impeccable dress sense. Whether he was gay or straight, it didn't matter. When we look at reality for what it is, and we see these images of, as Ron has showed us, and I put up on the screen there, it shouldn't matter. Because again, I said earlier in the conversation, we have enough that divides us in the first place. We're constantly seeing more division. And if we get all this division, we'll never have a cohesive part to come back together again.
Absolutely.
And so when you factor all that in, again, my thing was this. Watching comic book movies and the superhero movies and the whole thing is out now, as a child myself, having comic books myself, it's a great time. Now, when you see this bisexual thing of John Kent and everything else, it would be interesting if we went back in the time, as like Dr. Ron would say, and had a comic book been out back then, nobody would go near it.
Right.
No, it wouldn't even get published.
If it made the press, it would have been denounced.
Exactly.
Immediately.
That's right.
So at least forward thinking to where we are now, as you say, in 2021, obviously, when this comes out, it's more acceptable. And it shouldn't be about it. Now, I could take it or leave it, to be honest with you, because the storyline is a superhero, him or herself. But when they start to bring sexuality into it, I get it, but I can pretty much leave it out.
That's adult entertainment, ain't it? When they start doing stuff like that.
I would believe. Well, now let me bring that to home for you. The first time I saw someone who was openly gay or homosexual, I was in my almost late teens, like 15, 16 years old. I didn't even know what that was. I was never, from birth up until I was 15, 16 years old, I didn't even know that gay people existed. I went to work. A friend of mine, his parents owned a funeral home. And so we were friends, and I used to work there. You know, we'd go and put flowers up by the casket and wash the cars and do different things like that. And they had gay people that worked there or homosexual. I don't even, whatever one it is. And that was the first time that I saw that sassy, you know, just how they, and I didn't even know what it was when I first saw it. It looked, you know, somebody acting like your mama, you know, you're just like, oh, that's different, you know, or say something to you and you didn't know how to respond to it. You know, this one guy, he would always say, well, all right now. It was like, what's that mean? You know, every time you say something, he's go, well, all right now. And I didn't know. So going back to what you just said, Dr. Ron, in adulthood, I would probably say yes, but I think now that you can't even wait to take it there because we've opened up so many things for the acceptance that you can't hold it. You can't bottle it. You can't bottle it with an age or a time and a place. It's out. I saw a story the other day with Dwayne Wade, and it was either saying something about, it said his daughter. And for anybody that doesn't know, the NBA star's son is openly gay or homosexual.
And what's the age of the child again?
I don't remember. I'd have to Google it, but she or he looked very, very young.
Yeah,
this wasn't like an adult.
Right, he embraced it. Right.
Oh, they have totally accepted it.
Yep.
So the feelings as a parent, and that's basically what Wade has done, basically coming out to say he's supporting his son because that's love. He can't go in and chastise his son for being homosexual if that's what he feels he is inside of his own body. And so I guess him and what's his wife's name?
Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, Gabrielle Union have accepted it, and pretty much, and like I said, it's a picture, was on the internet. It was just a couple of days ago. I didn't save it. I didn't have a reason to. Zion, 14 years old. There you go.
Thank you, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. So, and Rachel, if you find the thing, you can tell us what it is. But they were celebrating something, and it was something, you know, around that situation, and so. Who are we to condemn it? I'm with you in reference to, I think, being somewhere in my life where I could deal with it. How do you defend yourself? You know, not to defend yourself to say you hate it or like it, but to defend yourself in your mind to make decisions that don't make you overthink it or do something really crazy. Just like they attacked, you know, coloreds and Negroes, black people back in the day. It's the same thing with this. And that's another reason why I said earlier about trying to get into this now, because I don't think we're over racism yet. I think we still got a lot of work to do with racism to make this mainstream today. I accept it socially. If Zion, if you say that Zion is wants to be gay and feels that he's a female, okay, fine. But racism ain't fixed yet.
Not at all.
And that covers a whole lot more people and things that go on in our lives in society than homosexuality.
Absolutely.
That's just my opinion.
No, it's very valid. It's like to a degree when you hear the term "don't sweat the small stuff."
Right.
In the bigger picture of what's going on, like I said before, when it comes to racism, it's the never-ending battle. Never ending.
It's crazy. I mean, you're seeing so many. It's active. It's like it's almost like COVID. You know, there's not that big of a difference between racism and the pandemic. And Red Beans just said racism will never be fixed. You know, that's a pretty valid point. It can't be fixed. But what can happen is there can be something that says, see, racism can go away. Well, let's stop for a minute. What's this Jerry Andrews is saying? Because Wade's son has been preconditioned to think this way as well as the dangerous you can make it. Okay, I thought he was telling something. Okay, going back to racism. Racism is something that it's actually over, but it's being continued because people don't know how to deal with it. And I don't know how hard it is to deal with somebody who isn't the same hue as you. I don't know how hard that is. I live in the country right now. And so I'm around a lot of people who do what we do. And I'm preferencing white folks that they pants hanging down. The women are wearing eyelashes that's 3 feet long. I'm seeing flip flops. I mean, you don't have any other clothes but these shorts and flip flops. They're kind of making us look like we overdressed at this point. So I believe that an insidious virus. Yeah, it's kind of that way. The thing of it is that racism is actually faded to black, no pun intended, because you can't really conduct it. It's being conducted now only in the clouds, like in places where people can go and manipulate it by not hiring you. You see what I'm saying? There's no racism in getting credit. GMC want to sell a Sierra to every dang person they can. Ain't no racism in that. What's the furniture store that they go to? Rooms to Go. Rooms to Go want to sell couches, beds, and TV sets to anybody that'll walk in there. But we have corporate entities who will still promote racism by not giving us a fair chance. And I guess that's called racism. I made a full circle on myself.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because again, we all know, just staying, as commercial would say, Captain Obvious, nobody's born racist. So
Right.
we got that.
Nobody stopped you from buying that Bears sweatshirt because you were black.
Even though they're losing, but
Yeah, but I'm saying there was you could get it.
Yeah, absolutely. You have access to it because we all have free will. So if you're in a household that promotes and really embraces racism, you don't know it's racism because that's how you were born into a situation.
Yeah,
that's your
DNA.
family foundation. Exactly, that's your DNA. So when you go out of the home and people push back on it, hey, wait a minute, this is the way I was raised. I don't like black folk. I don't like him or her or anybody else because that's how I was raised. Now, either you denounce it or embrace it. There is no middle ground. Because I know some people who've told me they come from a racist household. When they went to college, they realized that all their life at that point before they went to college was a whole different world. They met different people. They were in class with different people. They broke bread with different people. So they were able to break away from that racist foundation at home when they got to college or universities, change their lives completely. Or you have people who just kept that same mentality going and find like-minded racism or racist people and have that conversation as well. So you can't be on the fence. It's either you're this or either you're that. The thing about it is, if you're able to break away from it, it continues to say that there is some sort of hope. But in the long run, and it's between a sure con and the long con, if you're a con artist. The long con is to put the storyline to get the bait or to get the money because you now invest in the long term to get the end game. And the same could be said in the roundabout way with people who are born into a situation and their family members are racist. And again, they don't know it till they get outside the home. Racism must be fought because it just has to be. There is no other choice but to fight against it. It goes back to what I said earlier in the show, a couple of shows ago, about what the great tennis player Arthur Ashe said. Being a black man in America is like another full-time job. another full-time job. So you're born with the skin you're in. No matter what you say or do, and you're going to do things while black. You're going to drive while black. You're going to eat while black. And people look at you and just have all this negativity because of your skin tone and not knowing who you are, don't want to know who you are, because to be intelligent requires discipline. To be stupid, it requires no discipline whatsoever, which is why certain people can be led to slaughter and not think. You should try to question anything around you. But if you don't, anybody could tell you, hey man, 2 + 2 is 5. Oh, for real? I got it. No, you don't get it because you didn't think. You don't use the mind that you have. You should able to, hey, look, that don't even sound right. And we all have a sixth sense or spidey sense of things like that. And a lot of us ignore it. Why? Because we rather listen to people who don't have their best interest at heart when it comes to us. Going back to what Dr. Ron said about the media and how it can sway us and how it has swayed us and continue to do so. So if a racism is coming through the media and you're nodding your head, oh yeah, that's right, and not question it. Look, I've been doing talk radio now going on 30 years. Talk radio, going into talk television, always been based on the concept of conservative white males. That's who you placate to. That's the majority of your audience. So that's why your late Rush Limbaugh and Sean Hannity and those guys and gals do well, because they placate to that audience. Us being in radio, that's the same thing, but the target audience. So then using racist codes, like for example, so back at WLS I used to work at, when I used to run the board for the Rush Limbaugh show, Rush had a certain way of saying things that had code to it. For example, when you live in the urban community, it's code. Mm-hmm. But when you say those people, it's code. Once you realize what the code is, he's telling you it's a black neighborhood of people of color using the N-word or using other words that describe the situation, but it's coded. And the same they do on Fox News, and the same they do on conservative radio or television, because they placate to that audience. And we have to be smart enough to know the code if you're going to watch it. Now, a lot of people I know can take or leave Fox News channel, but me as the broadcaster, I like to sample everything. I may not agree with Fox News, I'll check it out.
Well, you need to do that.
Yeah, you can see to see all sides.
Yeah, to see all sides.
Exactly.
Yeah, because you can't stop them from inciting it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're going to do that anyway. But that's why I said, that's why I believe that there's a serious meltdown, because I think whether it's the music that we listen to or the way we dress, we share so many things that it's hard to make the racism really work. And I think that racism right now, from everything that I can see, is actually stuck more in the corporate entities than it is on our levels. I'm not saying that there ain't white folks that's walking around that don't like black people, and vice versa. Right. Because right now racism is a two-way street. It ain't just one way, it's two-way. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, when you have the power, see, the power just ain't keeping you from moving in a neighborhood, or keeping you from buying a car, or keeping you from having a certain status. But when someone is pushing a button in a boardroom or a corporate office, it's like ladders. And I don't know this, so I'm not picking on this corporation. I don't want to be sued by them. But all the the services, well, you know what they do. The reason that corporate America uses those companies, because those are the filters. See, you got a what do they call a person that's HR? So the HR person post, I think some of the rules say that if you got a job opening, it has to be posted for 30 days and blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the thing of it is, they took a lot of those powers away from HR people and they hire these companies, okay? And these companies use artificial intelligence to filter through the things that they want and they do not want. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they found a tricky way to block you without saying, we're not hiring you, Ron or Chris or Mike, because you're African American. They don't even have to see that. They come up with other things in there that causes that. So it doesn't have to be explained. Because now they call you in and they say, well, can you come in Thursday? We're talking to all the candidates. So you get that Thursday night and told Ron and Chris, hey, man, I think, I'm going over here, man, to this so-and-so network, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to hook y'all up when I get over there. And you get there and they go, we're so glad you came in today. But, it's unfortunate that we've made a selection and you're not the one. And you really have credentials that are worthy of you getting this job, but we had to make a decision and it's not you. So nobody wants those jobs anymore. The HR people don't even want those jobs. And so that's why these companies like Ladders and this kind of stuff come in now, and they're using, computer technology. So when your application comes in, the computer software is making the decision. And even though it has racial tendencies to it, they're not actually using racism. They're finding other ways of how you're connected by education, different type schools. They can go in employment instances and say, well, okay, you only went to a community college. So anybody that's only got a 2-year degree is eliminated. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Any school that maybe is called Dr.Ron College instead of Dr.Ron University is eliminated. So those are the ways that they're getting us now, using artificial intelligence to kind of block these situations. Racism still lives. And before we start talking about going and trying to pick on other agendas, and not to say that we shouldn't recognize homosexuality, I think we really need to pay more attention to the fact that we're here, we're not going anywhere, and how we break the racism code is putting ourselves in a situation. We got to take care of our credit. We got to have more things of interest than cars and clothes. One of the things that I'm so afraid of with reparations is that they're going to give, if they find a creative way, and they've given away reparations before in Alaska and other places. I don't know all the details, but it's been done. But I don't know how you're going to do it to trace back that I'm related to slaves that were brought here through North Carolina that I'm connected to, and you're going to give me $1 million. I'm actually afraid to see money given out that way because I think it's a vicious circle. That money is going to go right back to somebody that's not going to benefit, that's the same hue as I am. And if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to buy something that's going to help me grow. One of the other, I'm going to say this and let my comrades speak. In the country, the people who live out here, I'm talking in code, the people who live out here don't ever throw away shit. I ain't never seen so many old pickup trucks, tractors, and just stuff. They can't talk about us. I've passed more Sanford and Son type houses than the law allow. I kid you not. I'm going to take some pictures and we go post them. And I'm going, old golf signs, like golf gas, the old sign is rusted out. I'm passing this house every day. I go past it when I have to go down towards the lake or to go to Target or whatever. And they remember Beacons, Bekins, the moving company?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they got a Beacons moving trailer in their front yard, rusted out. And the house is nice. They don't throw nothing away.
Well, see, that's a symbol of how they got that house.
It could be. I don't know. But I know one thing. They can't talk about us. They can't talk about a ghetto.
Right.
Because down here in the country, I see some things that make ghetto look pretty damn good. That's all I got to say about that.
There you go.
Back to you, moderator.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mike Love. Now, Dr. Ron, from your desk, you had something else to bring to the table, sir.
Are you sure you want me to break into that now? Did you want to bring yours and then I clean up with the other one?
I thought you want to do back to back.
No, no, I can wait in between because mine's a warm and fuzzy moment.
Oh, okay. We'll wait towards the end for the warm and fuzzy.
There you go.
Okay, great. Black cinema, and we addressed this a little bit last week. As a matter of fact, Mike Love, you mentioned about the TV series BMF in passing. So I had the honor of interviewing the creator of BMF. His name is Randy Huggins, and I interviewed him on my CBI Chris Bate Interviews program. And the storyline of BMF deals with the story of two brothers, Demetrius and Terry Flannery, two brothers from Detroit who went into the drug gang. And we see these things over the years about native images when it comes to certain black television shows and movies. So let's do a little history before we get caught up. So there's a man named William Foster who is documented as the first black director to have made a film with an all-star black cast, which got his start here in Chicago, as a matter of fact, from the South Side. He created Foster Photoplay Production and once again considered the first black-owned film production company in the U.S. that featured all-black cast. His first silent film was called The Railroad Porter. It was a short comedy. And when we go back in history, well, this is early 1900s, that we've always been involved in these situations, but we never got the press for it. Why? Because, of course, of our skin tone. And going back to my interview with Randy Huggins, the more he talked about the Flannery brothers, and it's a great dynamic story because it deals with family and it deals with two brothers who realize, you know what, we see our father doing a 9 to 5, got bills to pay, behind on their mortgages and things of that nature. I don't want that. I want something different. I want to make sure that money would not be a problem for me and my family. So they chose to be drug dealers. I'm not condoning what they did, but what they did in the mastermind of a drug dealer was successful. Not only did they work in Detroit, they made a network from coast to coast, from California to New York and all parts in between. It goes back to the line in the movie Malcolm X, also in the book, where Malcolm talks about West Indian Archie, the numbers runner. He said if West Indian Archie had another avenue for success, or, for example, to be a brilliant calculator or a mind or mathematician or work for a company where his skill set could be utilized. But his option, I mean, West Indian Archie, was the underworld. Because what options do you have coming up in the quote unquote ghetto or communities where you don't have anything outside of your home? The 9 to 5s don't really pay anything. You look at another avenue for wealth and money streaming systems. So I thought about that. And what if the Flannery brothers, for example, had an alternative to go to college, to become mathematicians, to become businessmen? But what they did, they put the acumen into the street, and there you have it. Now, once again, I'm not condoning it. It would have been interesting if they had other options to have instead of the street. So after my conversation with him, I thought about the term blaxploitation. And I had to go back and revisit that. That's been on my mind for the past couple of years about, were we really exploited as black folk doing movies, for example? So when I was coming up as a mere youth, watching people like me on the screen, as a child, I didn't see it as anything as being expletive or exploiting. I just saw me look like me on the screen. And then you fast forward years later from my situation or anybody else, and you realize the terminology of blaxploitation films were a genre. So I don't know if I would call it blaxploitation. Were we really exploited? And how do you define that? So, for example, some movies I never looked at black exploitation. Case in point, Uptown Saturday Night, Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby, the movies, the buddy movies they did, Cotton Comes to Harlem. I just never saw them as blaxploitation films. They were just films that had all black cast in it. So for me, as long as we continue to support what we have, and once again, it's not all negative imagery. We can go to online. We can go to, of course, Netflix, Amazon Prime Video, Pluto TV has its own channel, the Black Cinema Channel. So as long as we can find it, we can embrace it. And so my question to everybody on the panel here is a two-part response. When it comes to, say, the movies back in the 70s, was it really blaxploitation? And then I want you to name your favorite all-black cast movie.
Ron?
You want me to go? Say the first part of the question again. I got my favorite movie already.
Okay, you're probably watching the football game. So was it really blaxploitation?
I think the term was used to define when you went into the corporate office and said, I want to make a movie. So when they asked the question, what kind of movie you going to make? Well, you had choices. I want to make an action movie. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But blaxploitation was a type or a category in which the movie house would get behind. So they did not feel intimidated by those types of movies because they felt like they were harmless, and they would not stir folks up. It wouldn't be riots in the community, in the streets, that type of thing. So I think for what it was used for, I think it served the purpose. It allowed those movies to be made under that category. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, one of my favorite black cast movies, one of my favorite, I would have to say Superfly.
Woo! Superfly.
He said, woo.
Remember they said that Curtis Murphy. Woo!
Yeah.
Woo, Superfly.
Yes,
Superfly.
Yes. Can I name two?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Trying to Get Over. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Trying to get over.
I like James Earl Jones and Diane Carroll in that movie where James Earl Jones.
You took mine. That was mine. I don't know why I want to say Charlene.
Right there. Vanessa Brown in the comment section got it right there. Claudine.
Yeah, well, he was a garbage man, and she was hiding everything, the toaster, everything when the welfare lady came.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, all the kids. Oh my God. Oh man, that's real life. But those were classics. And one of the formulas that took place in those movies was it had to have a good soundtrack, and they had to have, a good storyline. So it was a formula that led to a success. So, I can name many of them. Shaft, one, maybe two. When you start going to Africa and all them other places, it started getting bad. Shaft in Africa and all them other stuff. It started getting bad after that. But those were good movies of that era. So I didn't see anything wrong with it. They can call it anything they want to call it. I'm just going to call it a good movie. And I yield my time.
Oh, yeah. But real quick, what's interesting before we get to Mike Love was when you watch Shaft.
Hey, man, that's Mr. Mike Love.
Mr. Mike Love.
Okay, all right. You coined it now. Don't be dropping it in the middle of the show.
Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Mike Love.
Ron, he just gonna drop it. That's racist. That's racist. See, that's a racist move right there.
And you're not gonna let him. You're not gonna let him forget. Okay.
I can believe it. I was like, I've never heard him say my name without Mr. in front of it. What did I do to him?
Yeah, see, that's how shit starts. So so before we yield to Mr. Mike Love, when you watch Shaft, the original one, no offense to Samuel Jackson, but going back to my man, when you watch it, he's the first person that I saw on screen as African American man that ordered a latte. And this is the 70s, mind you. So to show the class of the character, it went a long way. Because hey, that Battle of the Jacket, man, he had about 4 or 5 guns.
The
and everything
short
else.
one, the waist jacket, and the long coat, dude.
Yes.
Come on, man.
The 70s. Exactly. That was the 70s.
Yeah.
And in New York. Okay.
And the fedora and the turtlenecks with Superfly.
Yep. Right. Yep. So I think it was a very well put together statement being made about the era and the time. Even in Superfly, hey, it was some stuff going on in that movie, brother.
And if you lose, don't ask no questions why.
That's right.
That was a hell of a line. And if you lose, don't ask no questions why. All I know is do or die. Superfly.
What she say? What Vanessa say? You got to be old as hell to remember he ordered a latte crisp.
I agree, Vanessa, but I do after he said it because I forgot all about that. But he was so cool. He was cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, and think about, he was being produced by a renowned director. So that cinematography actually bypassed the exploitation of the movie. If I can respectfully jump in at this point. Sure, see, exploitation meant that they were exposing us in a NIGGER term. AFU. Nasty. Okay. So that's what black exploitation was to put us on screen and say, see, that's what they do right there. See, that's what I'm telling you. That's what they do right there. That's what black exploitation is. It's to say, that's what they do. We've been trying to tell you. I don't know why you want to erase all this racism and say that they cool. See, that's what they do. They bring drugs. They got 10 kids. They got all of this.
See, the welfare company got to hide everything. Got to hide
the Waltons hadn't came out. See, this came out before the Waltons. Then, when the Waltons had 10 kids, it was okay. Good night, John Boy.
John Boy. Yeah, it was all nice and family oriented by that point.
All right, let's go back to Claudine. Gladys Knight, that song right there. Oh my God. What's the lyric? Make yours a happy home. Oh my God. I can play that song from that movie soundtrack every day because it reminds me, that song will make me tear up. That's my mama song right there. That's the song right there that was the anthem to black women. Because like you said, she's trying to make it. She's on food stamps. She's getting public assistance. And then to get it, she can't have no man. The woman needs some loving. Right. You know what I'm saying? And she's getting some loving. She can't get it till the kids go to sleep. I'm talking about some real loving. Yeah. And that means he's got to spend the night. She already got a big enough job to explain that he spent the night. Okay? She come out the bedroom and close the door behind her. They don't know he in there. Come on, go in there, get your lunch already, get on. You gonna be late for school. Get over there and do that. But mama need loving too.
But it exposed a serious issue in our community too. Now you can't forget the underlying message that the government entity called the welfare system said you can't have this, and this in order to survive.
I'm gonna help you with that when you're done.
Yeah, but that was part of it. They exposed in that movie some of the issues that were day-to-day life in the projects or in the community.
Let me know when I can jump in.
I'll let you know. You keep talking. I'm gonna let you in.
You better use Mr. when you say my name.
Um,
Oh, that's Chris. I got y'all mixed up. I'm sorry. Both of y'all
Yeah.
black. I didn't know. I forgot.
yeah. See, I never started out calling you Mr. Mike Love. See, I'm the
Why
same
you elaborating on that? Stick with your story.
Look, I'm the same age as you.
And I love you to death.
Yeah, but to expose in a movie how they wound up in that place, that needed to be exposed at that time. Like they made a movie that was a part of so many people's lives. A lot of people live that.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
they had multiple kids from multiple daddies because they got paid for them kids.
Yeah.
And then the white social worker would come in and persecute them because of such. You know what I'm saying? So it was a whole lot in that movie that was dealt with, that was exposing. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead on, Mr. Love.
I'm from a town called East St. Louis, Illinois. It's across from the Gateway Arch. St. Louis and the Arch on one side, East St. Louis across the river on the other side, divided by the renowned Mississippi River. I saw a lot of public aid. I've never been on any kind of general or public assistance, but I used to own an ambulance service. And so with the city being in the state it was in, the majority of the people who used the services of our company were on some means of general assistance. They had what they called a public aid card. And one of the things, you're absolutely correct when they gotta come and double check you and make sure that you're not, doing stuff. Because to be honest with you, we're at fault. That's why I asked to jump in, because I wanted to ensure that we didn't get off of this subject. I wanted to respect what you were saying, but get in and say, I saw the other side of why they have to do that. Because we take advantage of things. And so one time when I was in college, my dad was an alderman for over 20 years. And I had a summer job working for the housing authority. And so they were putting out notices for people who hadn't paid rent. And so a friend of mine and I decided, we just wondering, well, what's rent like in here? Because we weren't worried about what rent was like for poor folks. We was trying to figure out how could we get our own apartment. That's why we wanted to know. People were getting noticed and put out for being 10 months behind at $9 a month. You see what I'm saying? All right, because they wouldn't put the money that they were getting back into paying their rent. Your rent's only $9 a month and you're 10 months behind? Now, let me flip it over on the other side with the ambulance service. It's unfortunate that a lot of people who don't have medical assistance, like have Blue Cross Blue Shield, so on and so forth, that they utilize the emergency rooms in the hospitals a lot more because, of numerous things. You can't just put it on drugs and different things like that. We eat bad food, the whole 9 yards, okay? So we're at the hospitals a lot quicker than most. So we go to get a call to go into the projects, and we're trying to get the stretcher in to get the person out of the bed, but we can't get through the door because there's a kitchen table with 8 chairs behind it that they got from the pawn shop. There was a place called Fay Furniture, and Fay Furniture always sold all this erotic furniture. And so they got a big TV in the living room. They've got king beds. Now, it's nothing. I'm not going against that, but I'm just saying you didn't have money to pay the $9 rent, but you got a dining room table set so big that we can't get the ambulance stretcher in the house. Why you got a Persian rug on the floor? You know? And so that exploitation that we're talking about happens because they can't exploit us, because sometimes as African Americans, we ain't careful about our business. And we don't care that we we do certain things that make us or give us a title that we really don't deserve, but we get it because we exploit it. And that's why that whole thing came about. You see what I'm saying? So when they start showing these movies, the white directors, not your Bill Dukes, and you know who I'm talking about that did all the Shaft movies. I can't think of his name right now.
Gordon Parks.
Gordon Parks. See, the latte was a different spin. You see what I'm saying? The things that they did were a different spin. But the ones that are being exploited by the lighter side of darkness directors were showing us straight drugs, ghetto, thugged out. You know, the only language we use is F and GD and the list goes on. Mm-hmm. And so it was easy to exploit us, but difficult to get us to understand that, okay, this all you see when you see us. So if you're going to have a chance to put us on TV, you don't put the greats on TV, you do this. And then, because people want to be seen, they're standing in line to do these movies. I mean, one of the hottest records on the Superfly soundtrack was Freddie's Dead. Remember that? Da-dun-dun-dun, da-dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
Everybody was singing Fred. That's what I said. Mm-hmm. They say Freddie's dead. Everybody knew that song. Everybody played Freddie's Dead.
Yep.
That was the biggest record.
One of the coldest bass lines ever.
Oh my God. Da-dun-dun-dun. Da-da-da-da-da. Ooh.
Ice cold.
Ooh. Cold. But that's how we get exploited. Because sometimes we put ourselves in situations to be exploited because that's the only time we're going to get attention.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
Look at this comment real quick from Preston. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt you real quick. Remember Monster Ball, Halle Berry character purchased curtains on credit. Being exploited when it's easy when you're poor.
Absolutely.
It's an interesting thing that he mentioned about, because that's when she won the Academy Award.
Oh my God. And that was crazy.
Well, you know, that same year that Denzel got for Training Day. These
crazy
images that same year.
You gonna shoot me?
Yeah. Well, you know, I was gonna say that many people of color found themselves in generational situations that they didn't know anything how to improve themselves. Here in Chicago and all across the country, it started back in the 50s, I'm going to say. I can't remember exactly when. They put this thing together in housing projects. They call them projects, where they stacked Black families on top of each other, 16 stories high, 17 stories high in Chicago.
Cabrini Green.
Yeah, those type of scenarios. And they did not realize that it was a failed project until I think in the 80s and 90s when they started tearing those things down.
Yeah, the Pruitt-Igos in St. Louis, and that's what I was just getting ready to say. Yeah, they tore all that down in downtown St. Louis, and it was across the street from like the White Castle. Mm-hmm. So when you want to go to White Castles at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning after you got the munchies, and then the Pruitt-Igos was over here, and I'm gonna tell you something. If you didn't live in there, okay, it was fearful for black people.
Yeah.
Not just if you didn't have no business in Cabrini Green or the Pruitt Igos, if you were black, your chance of survival was really slim.
Yeah, that's like 63rd Street. You know, the police would not go anywhere near
No.
the projects after dark. Okay. They had their own special police that they started, you know, empowering to clean up the projects, you know, in the 90s. Okay.
Yeah.
But now you got 50 years worth of corruption that existed in the 1 block square radius. And if you talk about from King Drive to Michigan Avenue in Chicago on 63rd Street, they had, you know, some of the craziest stuff going on, and they had them all over the city. You know, so living in generational situations, which is what I said, you know, which caused those things to be the way that they were. And yes, there were some people that thought if they bought a kitchen table that was, you know, way too extravagant for the place that they lived in, downstairs, all of their kids had more cars, you know, than anything because they wasn't paying nothing on rent.
They weren't paying anything. $9.
Everybody in the house had a car, but it's parked in front of a project.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, so
hold that thought just right there. Let's not forget that a lot of these projects were actually built for servicemen coming back from the war.
Yeah,
so a lot of them weren't built for us.
Subsidized housing for those that are not old enough to remember, you know, and when they started tearing them down because they realized that these buildings were on premium land plots that the city wanted to take back control so they can put condos and, you know, turn them into income opportunities that that they was wondering, well, how can we get this property back? So they started relocating all of these families in various places around the country, you know, not just in the city, but around the country. And it's still to this day a disaster because some of the things that are going on the streets of our communities and our urban areas, you know, are because of those families that have been relocated in places that are out of control. OC, you know, out of control. So, you know, some of those stories, they expose some things. Not all, but some. You know, and those things, even if you go back and look at them today, you'll see what was current then still exists today. You know, so I just wanted to throw that back out there. I know that we got some folks that are you know, probably not worthy, you know, to have been involved in those type of situations because they were taking advantage of the situation. You know, every time they tell them, well, we're gonna cut your income, they're gonna have another baby. And I know some folks that did that.
Okay? Oh, me too.
I got 10 kids, and I'm well, when you finna cut my check, wait a minute, hold on, I'm pregnant now. And she might not have been at the moment.
That's right.
But she was gone before the night was over with. You know?
And that dude that got her pregnant didn't even know he wasn't even part of that plan. He thought he was just, you know, but she being awful nice and, you know, I'm having my way with this. And blah, blah, blah. No, dude, you were part of a master plan.
Yep.
Done so smooth, it had to be a plan.
That's it.
But, you know, you mentioned about Cabrini Green and the projects. For me nowadays, because of reruns, I think about Good Times. So when you see the opening of Good Times, you see that moment in time where they showed the projects because the family lived there. They showed the trains, we call the L here, and it's captured in time. What's amazing to me, talking about once again, white writers writing for black programming. So The Esther Roll character, Florida Evans, originally came from the show Maude. She was the maid on Maude. In fact, an earlier version of her and James, he had a different name. John Amos did play her husband. He was a firefighter on Maude with his wife. So all of a sudden, they go from a suburb in New York to the projects.
Right.
And then James worked at the car wash, making $1.75 an hour. It's documented with Esther Roll for Ebony Magazine back in like 1974 how buffoonery the character JJ was.
Mm-hmm. Dynamite.
Right, exactly. Oh, and I told you the story. I worked with him. I can't get those. I can't get that time back. Working with that. Anyway, so the thing about it is the great thing. Going back to my original point about Black cinema, that we create our own narratives. We should tell our own stories, which we do now. One of my favorite Black movies with all Black cast, Black Panther. Black Panther was really great. But once we go about the superheroes and things of that nature,
absolutely,
the CGI was great. The late Chadwick Boseman was T'Challa. He was the Black Panther, and I'm so sad that he's gone because the short amount of time when he knew he had cancer, he was still working.
He's still working. Yeah.
He was still working. So even in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, his last performance, it moved you to tears because we should have gotten more had life been in a different direction. Because as you know, Denzel Washington has purchased all of August Wilson's plays.
Yeah. And I love Fences.
Fences, oh my God, yeah.
Fences was off the chain to me. I love Fences, man. I thought it was a great piece of work.
Oh man, real quick, I'm sorry, look who showed up. I didn't mean to interrupt you. The dancing professor is here.
There he is. Uh-oh. He don't even look like he's broken a sweat.
Well, yeah, I wiped it off, man.
Oh, okay, all right. That's genius on you, Professor. That's why you the professor. You sweat, you wipe it off. James Brown never thought about doing that.
Hey!
Remember he made the song Cold Sweat. Wasn't it Cold Sweat?
Yeah, Cold Sweat.
Cold Sweat.
James was the band leader. Man, I want to apologize to the brothers, but I got a call. My nephew was in town and he brought in a group of his students, and he said, "Well, Uncle Bird, you got to come out, man. I can't come out." He said, "You got to come out, Uncle Bird, because these ladies want to walk." And they said, "Well, yeah, we want to walk." So next thing you know, I went in there. And the DJs was right tonight because I walked about 9 times.
What?
Yeah, man. They did good. I said, whoa. But I think a change is coming in the dance community. But what did y'all talk about this craziness that's going on with them rep cons?
No.
What's the story?
They talking about they don't want to give up nothing. They got on this big thing that Joe Biden is about to do, bringing this relief, and then the rep cons don't want to sign off on nothing. They even they about to crucify the girl Liz Cheney because she calling them out, and then and then the other thing with that Steve O'Bannon, with the O'Bannon cat, with this Trump thing.
Right.
They want to let him walk as if he didn't do nothing.
Now, who wants to let him walk?
The rep cons.
Okay, well, the thing of it is they're smart enough at this level to see that it was a snapshot that worked for a hot second. It didn't get him reelected. That piece that Bannon went to Trump and said, "Look, I put this rag magazine out to these people and they have no voice. If you give them a voice, the rest is history. You'll be president the rest of your life." And he went for it hook, line, and sinker. And the sinker is the insurrection.
Yeah.
On January 6th.
Yeah, and everybody wanted to deny that. And then I'm just wondering, is propaganda that powerful on people in America that people are just that stupid? That
Yes, if
that
you threaten, Professor, let me say this, and I apologize for interrupting. And I keep talking about living in the country and kind of seeing a mindset of people. The thing that they have over us, this different hue of people living out here, is that if you incite them, they will go and vote. That's what we're not doing. See, we don't understand that when we're threatened, how you stop the threat, you go and vote. Stacey Abrams now gave us a blueprint. She laid out the whole 5-room, 2,000-acre house. As soon as they start threatening you, just go and vote. That shuts bullshit down. And if we follow that, because that's what they do. But see, these people are downtrodden, man. I was telling Ron and Chris, they don't ever throw shit away out here. Old tractors, boat. I saw a boat the other day in somebody's driveway. It looked like the what's the boat that was on Gilligan's Island? The SS Minnow.
Minnow.
yeah, yeah.
It looked just like that. They don't throw nothing away. But the one thing that they have over us is that they vote. And that's what we got to do. We got to change that. If we're going to have an agenda as African Americans, right now, I'm not worried about racism anymore. I'm worried about voting.
Call to action.
Call to action.
Well, like I said, and I think we part of that baby boom, right? I think we baby boomers.
Yeah, we're boomers. Yes.
All right, at least I know, but I know to get out of the elementary school, I had to take a civics test.
Mm-hmm.
And in that civics test, that's where I learned what the most powerful entity is in the American political system. It's called the voting bloc. And the only way that our people exercise those rights, or that move as a voting bloc, we got to have this messianic feeling coming. Like, for example, when Harold Washington ran, oh, I got to vote for Harold. Then Obama, first black man. And if we get that feeling of the Messiah, then we're gonna come together and do something. But when it comes to just looking out for our best political interests, it reminds me of the song by the Last Poets. So, and I don't want to say it, but it reminds me, we'll do everything, but when it comes to doing what we need to do, we won't do it.
Right. You preaching right now. You are preaching to the highest level. You need a collar on and be standing behind a podium right now, Professor. I'm telling you, you hit the nail on the head. Cause all that's past, like you said, when it looks like, with the Obama thing, they had people out there talking about this person ain't never voted before. Now, the person 60, 70 years old. How the hell you ain't never voted before?
Man, and they was coming to vote, man.
It's coming to vote.
The black president I got to vote. I mean, everything was voting. Everything, everyone, any kind of way. But I think that move that was right before us went right on a buck wild move. It went right over our head.
Yep.
It went
Ron,
right over our head.
He did it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
And that's shameful. That's shameful for us to look and expect change, but we don't push the change envelope. JB, y'all was talking about JB, and he made a song. He say, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door and I'll get it myself. We done got messed up in this, and I've been hearing about so many of these horror stories about how people was getting over in this COVID thing, with all these grants and all the unscrupulous things that, our people do. And now don't nobody want to go to work.
Nope.
Everybody want to work at the crib.
Get that unemployment.
Yeah, everybody want to stay home and all this kind of stuff. And that just adds fuel to the fire for them to want to, keep us back. We done fell back 2 steps or 4 steps. Now they want to put another 4 on us and make it be 8. While at the same time, they're going to strengthen their position.
Amen.
To lock us out. And we're not thinking about that at all. At all. So when I saw this, and I saw these Republicans banding together to solidify or support this lie, it just make me not want to watch the news and stuff no more. Because we've studied, other dictators. We know about Hitler and all this old kind of stuff. Even the Joseph Goebbels theory, but that stuff still works in America, man. It works.
Yeah.
But Professor, can we as black people afford to stick our head in the sand like ostriches and not pay attention to what's going on around us?
Well, Ron, I'm saying that, but I really don't mean that. We got to bring our head up out of the sand. I'm a strong advocate of that. But when we have our own direction on things, it's like we got to check our own leaders. I think the next movement that we make is, if we don't pick who the leader is, we can't let CNN, ABC, NBC, we can't let nobody else pick our leaders for us. We gotta stop that. We gotta stop saying. Saying, since they say, well, let's get Al Sharpton, and I'm not saying this against Al Sharpton, but they can't pick our leaders for us.
No.
We need, because we ain't picking none of their leaders. We need to pick our own leaders. And until we can get to that point where we get our leaders, but the rest of us protect them. Because as soon as, we get a leader, we put them out there. You can't just put them out there. You just got to do things and quit telling everybody. When Tavis had his little State of the Union things, it was one pastor that said something I'll never forget. He said, and he was talking to all them great people that was there, Tavis, Cornel West, all the biggies at the time in the mid 2000s. Whoever was somebody black that was there, right? Tavis would bring them together. And he strictly told them, and I believe in this, he said, when you all want to get together without these cameras, without this fanfare, when you all want to just come to the table and put it down, roll up the sleeves and put it down, he said, I'm the first one there.
Amen.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that, babe?
Yes, I remember that.
Said,
And
he said, I'm the first one there.
Yeah, I remember that. And Tavis, before he lost his damn mind, really had a good thing going with the State of the Black Union. And you have it annually. It was always great. He had two shows. He had a morning show and like a midday show from the standpoint of format wise. So one panel, you had like Jesse Jackson and then Louis Farrakhan or Minister Louis Farrakhan. Next panel, you had Dr. Cornel West and Michael Eric Dyson. You go on. And so it would have been nice if that would have maintained. But again, it's like, see, this is the problem I had with Tavis Smiley. I'm glad you brought him up, Professor. I used to like Tavis. until when Barack Obama came along in 2008. Before Barack got on the scene, this man, going back to Tavis, considered himself a student of Dr. King. Read all of his work, did books based upon his work, and called himself this student of Dr. King. Then all of a sudden, Barack Obama's on the scene to run for the presidency. He does a complete 180. He's not the right man for the job. Why is he doing this? Because remember, he was doing commentary on this Tom Jordan morning show for 10 years. When he would go on his commentary talk about Barack Obama, he had received death threats during that time. Because they didn't know why we were, once again, 10 years, we heard your commentary about pro-black, and now all of a sudden we could be on the precipice of the first black president, and you're anti? Mm-hmm. Where all that come from? And so then, when Barack is elected, he goes on, meaning Tavis, on what I call Meet the Press on NBC, and denounces him all the way. He's not the right man for the job. And then it also broke my heart. Dr. Cornel West, they started denouncing the presidency, get on this, what they call this poverty bus, going to the inner cities to talk to black folk who didn't really believe in President Barack Obama. So first of all, where in the entire hell did you get that bus from? Who paid for that?
You can pretty much guess how they got it.
You know where it came from. Yeah. We all know where it came from.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'll let you have the floor. It reminds me of going back, one of my favorite scenes in Trading Places. When Reggie gets the cigars and the yak, and he's sitting next to the Duke brothers in between in the Cadillac and in the car. You can leave and walk out here forever. He had the cigars and the yak and the phones and everything else. No, I can hang out with you guys for a little bit longer. That's what Tavis did, and that's what Dr. Dr. Cornel West did. When that money comes along, hey man, I don't want to do that. Here's the big check. Yeah, I can hang out with you guys a little bit longer.
Yeah. I think their time was up. I think their time was up, and I don't think they really had no. I think that they had to take the anti-Obama thing, because they got the call,
But one good thing that came out of when he was doing that, they established a state of Black America, and they came together and put an agenda together that still exists, even though nobody references it, nobody goes to it to find out what's the next, who's on first, who's on third. Yeah, but they never used what was accomplished by doing that year after year after year. So there is an agenda. There is a blueprint that have been laid out by some of our best experts in economics, biology, every science that exists, but they're not using that agenda to better anybody. It's just sitting there.
I got you. I got you, Dr. Ron, and then I'm not gonna fuss about that. I'm not gonna fuss about that. But it's something about our people. When it comes to like wanting to do something to help benefit ourselves, it always appears that we have to have these two letters of the alphabet with us, YT. And it doesn't seem like that we can do anything on our own, but YT always has to be in it. Those two letters always have to be in it. And it seems as if we have to have some sanctioning from YT to continue stuff to even help ourselves. Now, am I drunk or what's up with that? Do we need to have I don't know who said it, but do we need to have the oppressor saying what we can do for ourselves. You know, and the reason why it stopped because Tavis was doing his thing, and he was on the stage that YT created for him.
Mm-hmm.
YT said, yeah, he could do that. When PBS, was really made for all of us, but YT, decided to control that. And so once YT decided that he didn't want to do that no more, even with all that momentum, Dr. Ron, that we had laid out, we didn't want to pick up and broadcast to ourselves. And I mean, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because YT stopped being with us on that. It's for some odd reason, as a great people as we are, we're very great. We're great. We got to be. Here we go, Chris Bass behind me. I must be the greatest.
Right.
You know, I
Of all
got to be
time.
that Ali.
That's right.
That Ali. Yeah, I must be the greatest. But we don't seem to want to take that initiative. We got some great scientists. One of my former colleagues, man, he said, man, there's so many ways, there's so many frequencies up above the earth. If we just had our investors to get all that, we can deal with our own channels and stuff like that and get stuff ready. But nobody's gonna push that envelope that far. Because if it's not sanctioned by them 2 letters, we ain't gonna do it. We need those 2 letters in our lives. That they raised us like that. And so we got to break that. We got to break. I don't need YT. And I don't know how we're going to do that. And I don't know when it's going to come. But we just, we addicted to YT. We say all the things, we say it loud. We had them sing Black Power. We had all that stuff. But when it comes to doing anything for ourselves, those 2 letters, YT have to say, they got to sanction. I mean, this is what I've been saying. We talked about them gozillionaires last week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if them gozillionaires get out of line, them 2 letters, YT gonna check them.
Yeah.
So
Happens all the time.
the gozillionaires, they gonna say one thing, but it really means the other.
Yeah.
Professor, there's a level of trust that we haven't achieved in what we do. One of the things that, and you almost have to give Lee credit for almost being a genius to take 4 or 5 people and put them together and they don't even know each other and they'll work. But the reason the 4 of us who are on here tonight work and we're cohesive is because we're not sitting here not trusting each other.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't want my job. Ron don't want Chris' job. We're able to speak, respect each other when we're talking, raise our hand if we want to interrupt. We know how to treat each other. And it seems like overall, we're still struggling with that. See, and before you came on, we were talking about racism. And I truly believe that racism ain't our problem anymore at a level that it was when we were confined to certain things. Where racism is being used against us now is in corporate entities for us to move along because they can do it. But for the most part, going back to what you said, joining the show, is we can make the changes if we just go ahead and vote. Why is it that hard? You got to sit in the driver's education place for an hour and a half. It's worth every bit of it once you get that card. It's worth every bit of it. It's worth I'm so empowered once I stand in line. Am I tired? Yes. Thank God they got the cell phone. So you got something that you could be trying to do while you waiting to go vote. But don't it empower you in a way when you come up out of there and you just cast your vote?
Oh, yes.
Oh, absolutely.
I've
Absolutely.
never said my vote don't make a difference.
Hey man, we're in Chicago. We vote 2 times. I don't know what you talk about. Just once in one election. Please.
No, I'm talking about anytime you vote.
No, I'm
I'm
just
just,
saying. I feel doubly as good.
yeah, me too. But I'm saying every time you do it.
Right. No, I got it. I got it.
Yeah,
I'm, I'm
yeah,
just I'm just letting you know. Yes, not only do I feel good for voting, but then I go back and get in line and vote again.
yeah. I
In
hear
the
you.
same
I hear
election.
you.
That's the way we do in Chicago. We got a man, we're gonna get him in. You know,
Yeah.
and that's where Chicago politics has a reputation of being. But you know, we got a lot of work ahead of us. That's the bottom line. You know, and we can't stop. You know, just like I mentioned a little while ago, they've always had a blueprint laid out by
Yes.
our best scientists, all the sciences, economics, biology, all the things that they have looked at that will benefit us as black people, but yet that agenda is not even in a vault. What they say, if you want to hide something, put it in a book.
Woo.
They put it in the book. It's
Put it in
there,
a book.
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
and it's available. But some
Absolutely.
of us don't even know it exists, you know?
Well, it goes back to the classic saying, hidden in plain sight.
Exactly.
It's all in front of us, but do we take advantage of it or do we ignore it?
Yeah. Their
And,
time was
know,
not in vain. Their
you
time
know,
was not in vain. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah.
my but our people, and I love our people, man. I love our people. But we got some messed up ways. If one of us is smart, we got attitude with that. My brother, all that so and so think he's smart. You understand? And then the ways that when we treat each other, when it comes to just seeking knowledge and information, that's like we like doing trying to solve the Da Vinci codes and stuff like that. Once one of us gets smart on something, it's like he got to put the patent on it and he got to keep it all for himself and
Right.
don't want nobody else to be smart but him, with all this kind of stuff. So we I think it's just too much individual. I think the individualism is good, but we were never taught, or we've never tried to bring our individual greatness into a collective, into any type of collective. You know, I mean, we got some brilliant people here. I mean, we doing it, and we just doing it cool. We just cool, but all this great individualism. Man, we should at least have two banks
At least.
Yeah.
with 40 million people, 44 million people. We should at least have two banks. We
And we
shouldn't
could
have to
have
depend,
it.
we shouldn't have to depend on YT to sustain it, keep it, and for us. See, listen, legacy building, and this is the second point I want to say. Legacy building is something we I want to cuss. Legacy building is something that we run from. We run from that. We live for now. We live for now and don't see nothing nowhere for the future at no time within none of our families. I'm not saying that about everybody, but for the most part, somebody that should be, and I'm not saying this meaning to you, Base, but there should be a Base and Sons. There should be a Love and Sons. There should be a Dr. Ron and Sons. Those type of businesses. There should be a Reggie Miles and Sons.
Absolutely.
But we're not ever conditioned in that. We're conditioned into the other bullshit. I mean,
Mhm.
It's too late.
It got out. It got out. It got out.
Hey, you said you wanted to cuss.
He was
Professor
trying
in
to
the
hold it back though. It
house.
got out. It got away from him.
Yeah,
He tried to
Professor
catch
in
it
the
in
house.
midair. You're like,
Professor in
and
the house, y'all.
we're conditioned. We're conditioned into the BS. We're conditioned into that where we think BS is life, and the reality of us building with each other, establishing legacies, is something that we be dreaming about.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's not supposed to be the dream.
Right.
Just think of great. Wait a minute now. Bushes, Rockefellers, Kennedys. All of these were family legacies. And we see this, and yet we can't figure it out. We worship this. You got more folk talking about somebody. I gotta call. More folk talking about doing great things, and it's right there, but they won't study great things. We want to do great things, but we don't study it. I mean, what? How come we haven't studied the Kennedy family, the Romneys? You got families that have been running this country: Clintons, Bushes, Kennedys. Then we had one person that was trying to take it to the extreme. But you have these families. And so we see this, but yet we can't duplicate it for ourselves. Why?
We
Why?
can't. We can, Professor. We just got to encourage. Like we saw that picture on last week. Those are people that have achieved a certain level of success. So now somebody got to take them by the hand and show them what to do with those levels of success to throw lifelines out to others. Just like the athletes. We were talking about 13, $17 million sitting on the table, with Kyrie Irving. He's missing a paycheck. Those type of dollars may not benefit his household, but they can benefit somebody else's household. So somebody got to take them by the hand and say, okay, you got this kind of money. Let's do X, Y, Z, and try and help some other folks get to where they need to be. Because without, like you say, establishing legacies and establishing generational wealth, then it's not going to work for us. And it can happen. It can happen. I look at some of those rappers right now that have established things for their children, and it ain't got nothing to do with the entertainment industry. I was looking at Run DMC. He had a show, a reality show, and he put his daughters in business. I think one went into fashion, or both of them went to fashion or something like that. But he put them in business, and he told them, y'all got to earn it. I'm not going to give it to you. So they went knocking on all the people that had been in their life since they were little girls, saying, hey, I got an idea. I got a concept. Russell Simmons was one, and they began the process of being able to establish themselves, in the world of wealth.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, was the reality show Run's House?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You know everything, Base.
Not really. It's
And got the
all
voice to go along with it.
Yeah,
Hey, was
you know
that
everything.
Run's
Yeah.
house?
Yeah, you know everything. Yeah.
It's smoke and mirrors. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
But he went right to the name of the show,
Was that Run's house?
Yeah, he got it. But you get
Thank
the
you, Mr.
idea of what I'm
Monroe.
talking about. You know, he began to establish for his family, a legacy. What the professor was just saying, and he can. Some people just need a little bit more, inspiration, motivation, and wisdom in order to make it happen.
Yeah,
It-
and the game gets so stilted, right? Cause once we start doing this stuff, next thing you know, we get all this glitz and glamour and all this dancing with the stars. And all this stuff, it just seems to confuse us instead of some of the basic needs of like investing, uh doing things, having that money flow in your circle. Man, if I could go back in time and do it all over again with this head I got now, man, I know we all can say that, but I would lay it out differently, man. But no, we get, you got to party, you got to do this, you got to know this, you got to be involved with that, and we get caught up with so many other temptations and so many other distractions that in the meantime, while we getting down having a good time, they steady going further ahead. That's all I wanted to say.
Let me say this. One of the things.
Wait, before
Oh,
you
go
say
ahead.
that, Professor, where you at? You keep looking over your shoulder. You all right, man? You in a safe place?
I'm getting ready to go in the crib. I'm in front of my house, but I'm getting ready to go
Oh,
in the
okay.
crib.
Yeah. You saw it, base.
Yeah,
He be looking over his shoulder and everything.
Right.
Yeah,
It's like
I
we
saw
gotta
my
talk
neighbor
about
doing that.
we
I
gotta
saw
talk
my
about
neighbor
generational wealth.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not in the crib, but I'm getting ready to go in the crib right now.
okay, bro.
Right.
All right.
Ah,
Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. One of the things, and he makes an excellent point, and I think with generations for us, we don't have the trust in our children. See, when you talk about Bushes and Clintons and all this kind of stuff, these families, the Rockefellers and so on and so forth. See, the kids are prepared to take the reign and know that they got the name and move to the next thing. Our kids want to destroy. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm getting ready to go over here and do this, so and so, so and so, and this really was getting ready to make the money. That stuff, that's old school. And they don't even take the time to say, okay, well, Dad, if you got this business here, can we get a computer? Because I think I can help computerize this part, to use QuickBooks instead of you using Mr. Johnson to still do your books for you. It's about growing it and how each generation makes their business, their family businesses better.
Right.
And for some reason, our kids think their job is to go make us look bad. And it may not be that they got to seriously make us look bad, but go do something that we couldn't do. Oh, I'm getting Dad. Nobody's doing that no more. I'm going over here and do blah, 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 blah. And this is what I want to do. I don't want to do what you want to do. Right. Imagine if there's a Kennedy that didn't want to be a politician.
Well,
think about it.
Oh, yeah.
Or in some way getting something from the political. There's some Kennedys that aren't politicians, but I can bet your bottom dollar that they're getting some money from a politician or they're using politicians to make money.
Yeah.
And they keep it in the family.
And just for the record, they started out as bootleggers.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, the daddy created the casting couch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's not kid ourselves. So that's what I said. The racism thing ain't really standing on anything. There's nothing that at this stage in 2021 that in a common sense that they could do to stop you. Where they're getting you now is corporate, and we got to get to that point. We got to work our way up that ladder a little bit more. So those decisions that are being made on you is being made by somebody that can help you, not hurt you. Because on the general line, they lost control of that. I told you, I'm not having it, but 4 houses are being built in front of my house. I have a computer sitting out in my garage on a card table. So when I get up in the morning, I want to drink my coffee because the weather here in Texas is pretty nice. So it's like 70 degrees. I can sit out there. I'm looking at my emails. I'm drinking coffee. They already on the job. Hispanics, Mexicans, they knocking and hammering at 7:30 a.m. in the morning. There's 2 things out of watching them for the last 3 or 4 months. There's no foreman on the job. Now, if it is, I don't know which one is the foreman because everybody on the job working. We came up and we knew who the foreman was because he didn't look like us, and it was obvious he's the boss.
Yeah. And he let you know.
And everybody knew he was the boss. You could come on the job and know, oh, Mr. Charlie, you Mr. Charlie.
Yep. And he always had a white helmet.
He always right. I don't see Mr. Charlie on the Charlie. You got to say because there ain't no Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie on these jobs. Everybody on this, I'm watching them. They're right across the street from my house. Everybody is working. I don't see no blueprint. I don't see no drawings. I'm watching them carrying sheets of plywood, walking sideways on a roof, hammering it and putting it down in real time. The only time I see non-Hispanic people on these jobs is the ones who are delivering the brick and the materials, or the ones who are doing something else outside of building the house. No one on these 4 homes that I've watched being built, let's keep it real, there are no black and white people on the property. Mm-hmm. So how can you maintain racism when you've lost the housing industry? Pretty much it's gone. That's who's building our houses. But see, you trick us. The trick is we're going to start calling this the Bannon trick. The Bannon trick is, okay, we're letting them do all the work because they'll work sun up to sundown. We don't want to do it, and neither do the blacks. But we can't let the blacks and everybody else know that, because if we do that, then they'll get mad at us. So let's put in the news cycle that we're raising GoFund money to build the wall higher. We're going to stop them from coming. They're already here. What do you mean you're going to stop them from coming? Right. They're already here and they're working.
Mm-hmm. Doing stuff that we don't want to do.
They doing all the stuff we don't want to do.
Cutting grass.
There you go. Lawn care.
Washing windows.
Lawn care. Housekeeping.
Mm-hmm.
Manual labor.
Yep.
I used to have a like quarterly, I'd get my apartment clean. And every time, I don't know who owned the company, but I ain't never had a black or a white housekeeper. Who are you blocking with the wall?
Right.
I'm confused.
Yeah, that's propaganda.
It's propaganda.
Right. Look, the wall didn't work in Germany, and they was all white.
There you go.
You know,
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Yep, and they was all white. Okay,
yeah, right.
And that didn't work.
Right. But that's my point. Do you know why it didn't work? Because the racism wasn't there.
Yeah, it was.
See, well, it was, but I'm saying this stuff is cross-pollinated.
But you also got to throw in classism.
Right. There you go.
Combined with that, yes.
Yeah. See, the classism has actually taken over the racism. But we can get the classism quicker than we can get the racism. Because I think it was Ron, or you said early in the beginning of the conversation, we were talking about the mobs. Mm-hmm. Was that you, Ron? Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you talked about the lynch mob.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So you can't, right now, the racism really don't stick at our level it sticks only when somebody's doing it and you can't see them. Ron made the reference to you can't do the shit when let somebody behind you go, hang him high.
Yep. And
There's a
now it
difference.
takes on a personality of its own, and everybody's the same person.
Everybody's the same person.
Let's get them. Yep.
Everybody, and the thing of it is, everybody got a phone. See, every time you see the greed is eating it up because that same guy, he may not want to give you the corporate job, but he needs you to buy that phone. He needs you to get that computer. He needs you to get that GMC Sierra. He needs you to get that Hyundai.
Yep, for sure.
There you go. So as we round out the evening, Dr. Ron, we return to him at his desk. As he says, you want to talk about something warm and fuzzy.
I'm not touching it.
Why you got to emphasize it like that, bro?
I was going to say I'm not touching it.
Okay.
And has it ever had a Brazilian wax?
It ain't my damn topic.
Well, look, in Chicago, let me throw this name out. And I hate the professor left because he knows every damn thing. Have you ever heard of Aletha Clark?
I've heard that name. I don't know where, but I've heard that name.
Okay, let me help y'all out. I got another share moment here, Chris. I'm gonna bring it back up.
Okay.
This is gonna pop up in the screen in a second here. It should be there now. Aletha Clark.
That's my baby mama. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, this is Aletha Clark, aka street name Inglewood Barbie. Okay. This young lady lost her mother to heroin overdose, and she's also lost a close friend, which started her on a path of community activism. And she's in her early 30s, and she started an organization. One of her first organizations was called Hugs No Slugs and Club 51. Now, what this young lady has done out of her own resources, she started building food pantries. She started feeding homeless people all on the south side of Chicago. And on this week, I started following a story that she posted. I'm friends with her on Facebook. And she was under the viaduct with hot food, feeding the homeless people. And while she does that, she plays her music fairly loud. And nearby was a tattoo parlor with an Asian guy that did not speak English too well. So what he did was he came out of his tattoo parlor and confronted her about turn your music down. She explained to him that we do this up until 11 o'clock every night while feeding the people that live under the viaduct. And she calls it Club 51, and she does it all broadcasting on social media. So she had all of this covered. So this guy became an instant asshole. He started getting in her face. He really wanted to jump on her. So he goes, picks up his phone and calls the police and said, oh, somebody out here with a gun, they're shooting. So the police shows up. Now, what the Chinese guy or Asian guy did not realize is that this lady has the love and the sanction of the mayor of Chicago, the police commissioner, the police department, all the politicians. They applaud her for what she does. So when the police showed up, they instantly said, we got this. And they commenced to telling him, you need to leave this lady alone because she's going to be here playing her music till 11 o'clock, and she's not doing nothing wrong but feeding the homeless people. Now, he got instantly afraid when he found out who she was, because he went back to his tattoo parlor, and the management of the tattoo parlor told him, "Boy, are you crazy? You'll get us killed messing with her."
Right.
Okay. So they made a press statement saying that we here at the tattoo parlor do not agree with the actions of our employee. He had no business out there messing with that lady. Period. The next night, they show up with pans of food to feed the homeless people that are there, because she shows up every night. She'll be there till April, till spring. Every night. She don't miss a night. Club 51. But the next night, the disciples showed up, the police were there. Everybody that saw that video and heard about that incident came to be her protection. And they have been there continuously every night since. Now, the Asian people were there that next night helping her serve up food. And she told them, she said, this is how you resolve conflict, not by shooting, not by fighting, not by getting into a war over a disagreement that this dude did not understand who she was and what she does. So she said, I hope this is not the only time that you come out here to be a part of what's going on. Chance, the rapper, was out there this week. Everybody has showed up to support this young lady every night this week. And I mean, not just the first night after the incident, but every night. They've had the community police out there, Chicago police out there. And when I say the disciples showed up, they bought the football team.
Wow.
Okay. They bought the squad out there to let her know, baby, we got your back. And she's been taking pictures and promoting how all she wants to do is help these people that are less fortunate. She's got 3 food pantries. Okay. They've interviewed her in Chicago last year. She got the Chicagoan of the Year award. So, you know, when I saw this, I said, this is a warm and fuzzy, feel good type story, because we're always hearing negative things about Chicago. You know, people getting killed. I'm looking at the news out the corner of my eye now. You know, police shooting police. Doggone policeman shoot another police because he's scared standing there with a gun. And he shoots his own 2 of them.
Wow.
Okay. You know, so we hear stories like that where violence prevails in the news. But here's a young lady in her early 20s, and she's not a bad looking young lady. It don't hurt that she's beautiful. And she's out there every night serving food to the homeless. So I applaud her on tonight on this platform for people to memorize her name, Aletha Clark, AKA Inglewood Barbie, so that you can know who she is. When you hear her name, you'll know that this is a young lady out here doing something, protesting against violence, trying to stop and make a change in her lifetime. Club 51, that's exactly right, Jed. And I tell you, this young lady is noteworthy to be talked about. So there's it. Warm and fuzzy. Now you ain't got to use hand sanitizer when you go from here tonight.
Hey. hey, don't be telling all my business like that. Watch out now.
Yeah, a great story, man. That's a great
Good story. That was a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And real quick, just as we get ready to wrap up, you know, the fact that people like her need support, it goes hand in hand, especially when your mission statement is to help people. And it's very simple. Once again, it's not brain surgery here. And people that you said before about the Asian person who in the beginning was against it or had pushback, They don't understand they're ignorant because that could have been you.
Mm-hmm.
You could have been homeless, and you could
Mm-hmm.
have been on the street, or you could have been underneath a viaduct, not knowing where your next meal will come from, let alone will you survive and live the next morning.
Yeah.
So when that type of thing happens, and we see these feel good stories that come forward, I totally agree. We need more of that, probably now in this lifetime more than ever, because I believe in pure evil, and pure
Yeah.
evil is out there running amok. Don't sleep 24/7. But the people that's out there that's fighting against it, that's trying to help your fellow man, woman, and child, they had to be commended. They had to be lifted up because that's not easy to get out there with that type of mentality to go out and help people. You're charged, but you need assistance. You need help. And just the fact that you said before, they saw the video, they responded in kind, and see, that's when the internet is great.
Yep.
That's when social media is fantastic. Not the
Yeah.
bullshit we see with other people. It's when you're able to do something with what you have. When you're able to see social media and go respond in kind to help out. That's when it's at its best.
Yeah. It was so
Amen.
crazy. It was so crazy, man. It's transparent. So like when the Asian guy came back the next night with his manager and all the other people from the tattoo parlor with these pans of food, I'm like, Asian food, right? They took videos of everything, and he speaks broken English. He said my manager told me we could get killed messing with you.
You will die. You will die.
All right.
He understood that.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
that.
You don't want to get killed.
You will die that night.
Oh man, I
Wow.
promise you, bro. Aletha Clark, she's on Facebook, Instagram. Go look her up. Send her a friend request. Support her. Send a contribution. Go out there and pass out food. Oh man, it is hilarious. I promise you. When you see that video, and that dude understood the mortality of, man, I messed with the wrong person. Now he thought he was gonna call the police and say they got a gun,
Mhm.
and the police was gonna come chase her off the block. The cop pulled up and said, "Hey, we got this, baby. Don't worry about it." Where he at?
That's
I
love right there.
love it. I love it.
It's beautiful. Let's go around
Uh,
the table as we part company, as we verbally broke bread, as we always do every Thursday night. We start with Mr. Mike Love, and
Thank
then the
you.
Dr. Ron, and then we'll get back to me and we'll wrap it all up. So, Mr. Mike Love, you have the floor, sir. Last words.
Mine is short and sweet. God has the final say. We got to put a lot more in faith and a lot less in people. A lot of things that we talk about on this show is all people driven. Ideas, things that we see every day, and things that we do. But we got to put more faith in the process. And this isn't a churchy thing. This isn't about trying to convert somebody. That's not what it's all about. Faith without works is dead. And see, sometimes when you hear a spiritual person or someone who may consider themselves a Christian, whatever designation it may be, you got to understand if you believe in yourself first and foremost, you'll get a lot more done than believing in somebody else. And I'm going to leave it there. Ron?
Amen. Like I said, warm and fuzzy type story tonight. I just felt like I wanted to celebrate this young lady and what she has been doing on the front line night after night, with food, hot food, taking it out there. And she has two children of her own. She came from a place of adversity, and she has seen so much death around her that she wants to make it her battle cry to do something for as many people as she possibly can. She passed out bags of food from 3 pantries now in the city of Chicago, and the mayor of Chicago came out and supported her and helped her pass out food in the middle of the street, out there passing out bags. All you had to do was drive by. They were feeding people all last year. So that type of thing, when you see that and you hear that, it restores your faith in mankind. It restores your faith in younger generation. I know, as an older person, we know what it is to get behind the cause. We know what it is to get committed and to get involved. But to see a younger person doing that on that level, man, it just lifts my spirit, and it makes me feel good to see, what somebody is doing day after day after day. And I applaud her and I celebrate her. And I will, me and Lee were talking about it. He said, man, you're going to have to go out there and really do street news now and interview her. I said, man, it's a pandemic out there, bro.
Oh, get off this thing, man. Chris, take over. He done did all that and then go. Chris, take over. Close it out.
Right? I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna go out there one day and broadcast from there. I am gonna go. I just gotta figure out what day that is.
Yeah, clean that up.
You can't backwalk that, doctor.
Right. So, Chris, take the microphone, please.
I know, right? My quote is very simple. In fact, I found it today. And I want to share with everybody. It's the following quote: "The future depends on what we do in the present." That quote came from Mahatma Gandhi. And when you do those type of things, it propels the future to be a little bit brighter. But you got to start right now. So this has been Street News Now. Catch us every Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Make sure you go to YouTube, type in SNN, Street News Now. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share. Catch it on Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch when you have the time. Go spread the word about this program. As Lee would say, we're trying to build something here. Okay, we can't do it without you. So if you like what you see, go tell someone, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and be a part of what we do every Thursday evening. For MIA and Buck Wild, also for Professor Reggie Miles, for Mr. Mike Love, for Dr. Ron Ford, and for our fearless leader, Lee Michaels, I am Chris Bass. Take care and continue to be peaceful.